Greetings again to all of you. As is normally my practice, I represent a very special creation by a very special son of India and the world, and his spiritual collaborator, the mother, Sri Aurobindo, and the mother. This also happens to be his 150th birth anniversary and the 75th birthday of Free India. So with your permission, I'll take about 30 seconds to start with the Sri Aurobindo Gayatri. What this invokes, the divine sun, the supreme sun sitting in each of us, the sun of spirituality, is to illumine all the dimensions of our being with the truth. Om Tatsaviturvaram Rupam Jyotihi Parasya Dhimahi Yanna Satyena Deepaye Satyena Deepaye Om Tatsaviturvaram Rupam Jyotihi Parasya Dhimahi Yanna Satyena Deepaye Satyena Deepaye. 75 years ago, it was the birthday of India when she just got her independence, the free India as we know of her as she is today. It was also the 75th birthday back then of the great son of India that I just spoke about, Sri Aurobindo. Pondicherry is almost synonymous with him. On that day, he was asked to give his message because he was also somebody who played a very important role in this whole freedom that India had attained. He gave a very, very brief but a special speech called The 5 Dreams. He didn't read it out himself, but it was broadcast on All India Radio, Tiruchirappalli. I'll just take, since I've been given 5 minutes, I'll talk a little bit about these 5 dreams and then the relevance for it in the context of what this conference is all about. The 5 dreams were very simple. He first of all spoke about a free and united India. And his idea was absolutely bold, audacious, beautiful. He didn't stop with India's freedom in the conventional sense, but he really spoke of inner freedom, where each one of us is able to break the shackles that hold us back, the shackles of greed, entitlement, anger, envy, jealousy, hatred, all of these. But more interestingly, he had the courage also to speak of an India which is eventually united with the partition that had taken place. He saw the partition of India actually going away, not by force, not by military power, but he said that the people, it is something that is bound to happen. He said it is inevitable. The second dream he spoke of was about the resurgence of Asia as the cradle of a great civilization. The third dream he spoke of was of a greater, nobler, brighter world for the whole of humanity. Because he was somebody who had spent almost the first 20 odd years of his life having nothing, no connection with India whatsoever in, you can say in a lot of ways. His father was someone who didn't even want the shadow of India, Indian culture, Indian civilization to fall on him. So he was sent abroad to study with no exposure to Indian languages, none of it. But when he came back, almost like an evolutionary thrust, like the birthing of something which was waiting to take birth, which cannot be stopped. Like the teething that happens, you can't wish it away, the teeth have to come out. So this is something that grew in him with a great vengeance, very beautiful vengeance, if I may say. The fourth dream was India's spiritual gift to the world, which is something that we are actually seeing in a very big way today, when there's a great appetite for anything connected with India's spirituality across the world. And then, finally, the fifth dream, I'll elaborate, I'll read this for a few minutes. The final dream was a step in evolution. So to give you a bit of a background, he talks about evolution and says that we human beings as we are today are not the end of evolution. We are still work in progress. And that there would be another being that would come after proper refinement, evolution of all of us. And most of us in this room are, I would say, very advanced, evolved people in that direction. That's the reason you're all here across the world listening to this. And he says there will be a stage where it is almost like discipline being the child of freedom. You would have unbridled freedom where you engage yourself in all the things that the world has to offer. But from that emerges something which is very beautiful, which actually has a harmonizing and a unifying effect, where you don't really believe in any distinction of caste, creed, religion, language, beliefs, but there's something which is implored and driven not by ego, a sense of you and me, a sense of me and the other, but something which is actually built and based on that sense of universal love, universal oneness, where we just look at each one as a manifestation of that divinity which is already inherent in all of us. So he says the final dream was a step in evolution which would raise man to a higher and larger consciousness and begin the solution of the problems which have perplexed and vexed him since he first began to think and to dream of individual perfection and a perfect society. This is still a personal hope, he says, and an ideal which has begun to take hold both in India and in the West on forward-looking minds such as these. The difficulties in the way are more formidable than in any other field of endeavor, but difficulties were made to be overcome, and if the supreme will is there, they will be overcome. Here too, if this evolution is to take place, since it must proceed through a growth of the spirit and the inner consciousness, the initiative can come from India. And although the scope must be universal, the central movement may be hers. And it is exactly to give a physical form, a shape to this dream, this vision, that a beautiful vision of a city of human goodwill, harmony was created, called Auroville, way back in 1968. Mother, who was the spiritual collaborator of Sri Aurobindo, founded the city, and she envisaged it as a city where 50,000 people from across the world, from all the countries of the world, would live as sisters and brothers with a great deal of mutuality, love, respect. And she states boldly in the charter, it does not belong to anybody, Auroville, but it belongs to humanity as a whole. So where we get out of our sense of entitlements, me, mine, and where we actually embrace all of us and embrace the whole world. And this was meant to be a crucible, a small pilot, which would eventually become a beacon, a lighthouse for the entire world and humanity to follow. A new creation, she said, the mother, beginning with a model town and ending with a perfect world. So on this special occasion, as I conclude this talk, I want to take this opportunity to invite, with a great deal of love and respect, each one of you, all of those that are listening to this in India, all across the world. We have people from 60 countries staying there now, but we want Auroville to have people from all the 200 countries of the world. We want young men, women, men and women of goodwill, students. We want teachers. We want people who are genuinely interested in humanity, who are sick of the rat race, of all the ills that plague the normal world outside. This feeling of fighting for property, fighting for this and that. Instead, can we all really consecrate ourselves, all that we have, all that we do, all that we are, to the divine, and be willing servitors of divine consciousness. This is the word that Mother has used. So I want to welcome each one of you. Probably the one message we have today is hashtag come to Auroville, come as visitors. How many of you have visited Auroville? How many of you have not visited Auroville? No, this is a moment to be photographed. So we would like to welcome all of you. If you are here for a few more days, please come to Auroville, come as a visitor. We will facilitate, Prasadji is here. We will try to facilitate your visit to the Matrimandir. I can also see Sheetal here. Some of our own, anybody from Auroville here other than Sheetal and Prasad? So maybe we should facilitate this. Let's invite our sisters and brothers from all over. It is not meant for a few, select few, but it's meant for the whole of humanity, for people to come there. Come as a visitor, come as a volunteer, as an intern, come and involve yourself in some amazing, incredibly beautiful projects going there. And then see if you want to also be a part of this very bold and beautiful experiment. Thank you. I think I've probably stuck to my time, and I really wish this conference the very best. We were delighted yesterday to have the Honorable Union Minister for Education at Auroville. He spent nearly 3 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours with us, and he too has said that this whole idea of global citizenship, if we can through this forum reach out to young people across the globe and invite them to Auroville to come and taste what is it that was meant, the vision for it, the mission for it. Although we are still not fully there, all this is work in progress, but with the help of all of you, all of humanity, we can surely create this beautiful vision, this beautiful dream that the Mother had, which was inspired by the direct action, thoughts, philosophy of Sri Aurobindo. Namaste.